Hello people. I recently bought myself an iPad and Logic Pro for iPad because I was travelling abroad to Chicago to visit some family out there, and I wanted to be able to take some kind of portable music making device with me for the journey. I'm not going to make an in-depth review or a kind of a user guide. I'm sure there are plenty other videos out there doing a similar kind of thing to that. So I thought we'd just dive into the program and make a bit of a quick beat using it. I thought that that might be something that's of interest to some of the viewers of this channel, to showcase some of the plugins, the features and the functionality of this app for iPad. If that sounds interesting to you, why don't you stick with me and we'll take a look at this.
Right, so first of all we need to create a new project, and we're just going to pick one of the software instruments and just browse through the library for some interesting sounds. So here we're just recording a snare. For some reason the click didn't carry on playing while I was recording, so I had to guess the timing of these snares, which I don't think I did a bad job actually. So yeah, we're just trying to work out a quick drum beat, just find some interesting patterns. I auditioned some kits and sounds a little bit beforehand, and I really like this Dark Arts kit, so I thought I'd start there, make a bit of a dark hip-hop beat, and then just see where it took me. So I do find this, using this app and working on the iPad, it's quite a quick way of working. I think I probably construct beats and construct ideas probably quicker than I do when using Logic on my computer. But I think it's quite good to think of this as a kind of a sketch pad almost for, you know, like an artist would use prior to doing their actual piece on a canvas, just to get an idea down quickly onto this iPad. I think it's a really useful app. Trying to find some interesting sounds that work within this kit. You might have to excuse me, I might have to make a coffee while I'm doing this voiceover. So if you hear some noises in the background, it's not Foley sounds that I was recording at the time, it's me trying to make myself a coffee. We've got quite a bit of an interesting groove going on now. So we're just going through some of the library sounds. I think this is one area where it will feel fairly limiting fairly quickly, as I think it won't take that long to become sort of very familiar with the library of sounds that Logic suggests. I think it is amazing the way that they've got all of the plugins that you would expect to see in Logic Pro into this application. It's very well thought through. I even find using the keyboard surprisingly sort of playable, actually, even though I'm not a keyboard player. For just sort of sketching down ideas that you can then sort of later refine in the MIDI editor, you know, I think it's perfectly functional. So we've just recorded in a little 2-note motif. So here I'm using Beat Breaker, which is a multi-effects plugin, and it's I'm using the halftime, which is, you know, not at all like Cable Guy's halftime, I'm sure. It's a nice way to sort of work and generate interesting ideas. I mean, here I've duplicated Beat Breaker over so that I'm using the halftime on one of them, and then I'm using a different preset on the second one. And it's immediately given us a rather different sort of feel to the notes that I inputted. Adding some tape delay. Now, one thing I wish you could do a bit more easily is when you have a whole host of effects like we've got down the bottom, if you can see where we've got our stereo delay, silver verb, tremolo, etc. If we could sort of pick those up and rearrange the order of them, which I don't think is possible, or at least if it is, I haven't found a way to do it yet. So here we're just transposing this around the actual MIDI regions, because obviously I'm using the halftime on Beat Breaker to pitch it down an octave, so I thought I'd pitch it back up first. What did I do there? I think I bounced that to audio, and then I think I dropped the original one back down, I transposed it back down, so we've got a higher pitched one and now a lower pitched one. I think I'm just playing with some different pitches, just moving up and down octaves. And what we're doing here, so we've added a tremolo, which is quite nice. It seems to sort of pulse in and out against the higher pitched audio bounce. So again, we're just auditioning some different sounds. I think I was looking for some other kind of synth sound, but I kind of got a bit sidetracked by listening to bass sounds, as quite often happens. We all love a bit of bass. Okay, back on track, listening to synth sounds. Sorry, it's coffee time. So, I don't know how you'd describe this track I'm making. I don't know, cyber hop, maybe. Honestly, being an older gentleman, I do find it difficult to keep track of genres. Although I'd say my tastes are still fairly contemporary. I still, love a lot of new music that's coming out. A lot of people will decry the current sort of trending music and reminisce about how good it was in their day. I'm not like that. I look for innovation and new sounds and interesting things happening, so I actually enjoy a lot of new music. I still like the old stuff, of course, but I do like to try and push the envelope and stay contemporary in my own music as well. Whether I achieve that or not, that's up to other people to decide, I guess. But in general, I'm very happy with the way that my music is developing at present. I think this tune's turning out quite an interesting. There we go, putting in some bass. We got deep 808 bass. I think that note was wrong, mate. Coffee. So we've got this nice kind of spacey, futuristic synth sound. What am I doing here? Right, we're going to add in some audio effects. So I'm adding some tremolo to the bass, which might be a little bit of an unusual thing to do. What I've made sure to do is put the stereo phase on 0%, so essentially there's no sort of delay between the left and the right channels. So it's essentially like using a mono tremolo. So it gives us it's kind of like using an LFO on the envelope. Sorry, what did I say there? An LFO on the, not an LFO on the envelope, an LFO on the volume. Apologies for the rather loud spike there. That was me accidentally pushing up the master gain, or the makeup gain I should say. That's quite interesting with that tremoloed bass. And what I'm doing here, I'm just going to trim that, so we're just going to do a little bit of arrangement. What I intend to do is to take that reverb tail from that other sound that I've just chopped off, and here I'm going to reverse it, and we're going to use that as a nice sort of reverse fade in kind of effect. And I'm just boosting the gain up on it. And I think for me, as soon as I created a couple of sort of reverse sounds, I think this track sort of seemed to come to life for me. So there we are. It's quite quick to move regions around. What am I adding now? EQ. So we're going to do a bit of automation and automate this arc in. So I've just put it onto latch mode. Now, one thing that I've found is that you need to tap the automation button in the top left hand of the screen for it to actually start recording in the automation. But here we're just increasing the frequency of the high shelf to usher in this synth part. It's quite a lovely little automation curve there. I have to say, I think the automation on here is the thing that is probably at the moment, one of my most enjoyable parts of it. I think it works so well, so intuitively. It's a pleasure to use. Unlike the way it works in Logic Pro for sort of desktop computers, I find that quite cumbersome sometimes. Okay, so we're just putting some reverb. I've got that quite wet. So I wanted this kind of really in the background, that original sort of siren sound. Get that quite quiet, quite atmospheric. So here I'm just going to copy these, or sort of move these. There we go. Actually, I copied those when I didn't mean to. I just wanted to move those regions. So here I'm just bouncing these in place again, I think, or I'm about to. The idea for doing this is so that I can stretch this out over the full 4 bars of the intro, so that it's a little bit different sounding to when it actually drops. And again, I've chopped that tail off and I'm going to use that. So there we go. So stretching the audio out is very easy. So we just create a bit of a different vibe, even though it's based on the same sounds for the intro than from when it drops. And I think this little reverse sound, this little reverb tail, so I'm just reversing it now, and I think do I boost the gain on it? Yeah, I think I do boost the gain. So doing all this kind of stuff is really quite quick and easy. But I think you'll hear when these sort of reverse sounds lead into our drop, it really brings the drop to life. And just extend that over. Yeah, oh, we've got something. So at this point, we've got quite an interesting sound, quite an interesting idea. So here I've just duplicated the bass channel over. I'm deleting the lower notes in one of the channels and deleting the higher note on the original one. The idea being I wanted to come to the new one, and on that higher note I wanted to set a different tremolo rate, so to change things up a bit, just as to add a bit of variation. Now if I'd spent more time I would have created a lot more variation and different things to keep it a bit more interesting. Maybe I would have changed up the drum beat. So there I'm using that reverse sound to sort of build into that changed sort of high bass notes with the different tremolo rates to sort of accent it a bit. And yeah, essentially that's my beat done now. I don't think I'd do an awful lot more. Yeah, I think we just work on a little bit of a slight variation on the last bar just to change it so I've pitched that bass sound down an octave from where it was. So I think I'm just working on cleaning up the last few sort of tail end bits and bobs on the arp and in the drum kit so that we come to a more definitive end. So we don't need those last two little hat sounds. Oh, we do need them. Okay, I'm just going to move them. Okay, whoops, I think I meant to copy them. And there we go. And we're just going to use a velocity tool, make a little sort of ramp up to build to that final snare hit, or whatever it is, little rim shot sound. So yeah, I've just bounced that in place with the, you can see the tremoloed sort of waveform. And yeah, I've just reversed it now and moved it so again it builds. The only problem was that now these two different bass parts are overlapping, so I move the note on the original sort of bass channel over a bit. And there we go, and I think there's an extra kick sound in there that we don't need. I hope I remember to remove that. So I think, yeah, those two can go. I think did I mute these? No, I did delete them. There we go, that's a nice clean end to that part. And I think for good measure, in a moment I automate in some reverb to build up to that end transition, which I don't think sounded particularly good, but it's just to sort of demonstrate again using the automation and just giving some, you know, ideas for people of ways to create interesting transitions. Now here, I'm essentially going to call this track done at this point, and I'm just going to add the mastering assistant, which is a new thing. I believe they've brought it into Logic Pro for the desktop app now. So it analyzes your track and then it gives you an EQ curve and probably does maybe some other things just to help clean up your mix essentially. You can change the amount. If you think that it's too aggressive, you can back it off. If it's not enough, you can push the slider up. There's different algorithms, different modes. So transparent, punch, clean, and whatever the other one is. I'm going to settle on clean, I think only because I like the pink colour. It looks, that sort of neon pink looks quite cool. And that is pretty much the finished beat using Logic Pro for iPad. So I think it's time for a bit of a playthrough. No, I'm still editing, taking out the kicks at the end of that bar. Do I do the same with some of these drums? Yeah. There we go. That was Logic Pro crashing. I think I just duplicated the track over and it crashed, but as you saw, it's given me an autosave, and I just repeated that action, duplicated the track, moved that audio region down. I can't remember what I was doing with this. Did I pitch it down or put in beat breaker on it? I'm guessing, yeah, I half timed it. Right, so that was to pitch it down to give us a bit more of a spooky atmospheric vibe to the second half of the tune. Did I do anything else? Maybe a little bit more automation? Yeah, so I think I just automating this siren sound at the start. Just eases the listener into what they're about to hear, or kind of teases them into it. It's quite a good technique to have things a little bit distant and a little bit unclear at first and have them slowly reveal themselves. And we're not quite done yet. I think I remember that I moved these build sort of reverse sounds over a little bit. And here I'm taking another little clip from that alarm synth thing, trap alert synth. It's like a siren-y kind of sound. I think I added an additional reverse sound. So yeah, reversing it. Nice. Yeah, this is where I tried to copy over the drum regions and copied all of them. So I just want this first one, and I'm going to get rid of most of these MIDI regions. I just want a little intro fill. Cool. Yeah, we don't need that one. Nice. So, is that done? I think we're done. So yeah, I think it's time for a playthrough. What do you think? I know you've been listening to it the whole way through, but we might as well play it from the top. And there we go. That is my not quick tune that I made using Logic Pro for iPad. Hope you enjoyed.
So, as per usual, that quick song took much longer than I expected, but hopefully you enjoyed that. I think it turned out really good. I think the team at Logic have done an amazing job packing in everything that they've done into the Logic Pro for iPad. It's very fully featured, very similar to Logic Pro, and they've done a great job. I think it's a really inspiring bit of software. A bit of a learning curve at first, but very intuitive once you get into it. I still a bit of learning to do there, but definitely very, very useful and inspiring music creation app, I think, and I think I'm gonna be making quite a bit of use of it. So if you like that video, please like and subscribe. It really does help out the channel, and the more popular I make this channel, hopefully the more time I will have to dedicate to putting out better and more frequent content. So till next time, guys, please take care of yourselves and have an amazing day. I will see you real soon. I just tripped up. Anyway, I'll see you again soon. Peace out.